And there's a drive. Deep right field. It is gone! The hit that makes history is a two-run home
run. All right. We're back again.
Already.
6-4-3. What's happening, everybody?
What's going on, Luke? How you doing?
Well, we already have some new news since the last episode. A lot going on in just a day in the MLB. Very active spring training. But that's what we like because we don't want a slow spring training. We want some excitement, and that's what we're getting. So last episode, we talked about a couple free agent signings that haven't happened yet. One of them was Jose Quintana, one of Luke's guys. Tell us about Jose Quintana, Luke.
Yeah, shortly after we posted that video, what do you know? And I'm not surprised either. I had a feeling he's going to get signed. It was a lot sooner than I expected, but he signed a one-year deal with the Milwaukee Brewers. And I actually really like this move. I think it helps Milwaukee out a lot in the rotation. Good fit.
Yeah, exactly. Milwaukee was one of those teams, last year, obviously they had such a great season. Bryce Terang and obviously Contreras and everybody played, real hard baseball there last year. And I think this just adds to them very well. So it's unfortunate they don't have Devin Williams, but the way the Brewers play and move people around, I don't think that's going to be much of an issue for them. I think they just made the NL Central a lot harder for the other teams out there. So next on the list, Jose Altuve. He has been getting a lot of play time in left field. Looks like he's going to start there this season. I'm not sure if Brendan Rodgers is going to get that second base start. There's a few guys out there that the Astros are looking to use. What's your thoughts on Altuve in left field?
I don't know. It's not sure how I'm feeling about it. I'm not really crazy about it just because I think he's 34, 35 his whole career. He's been at second base. Now, all of a sudden, they want to move him to left field. It's a little odd to me, but I'm sure he'll make it work. He's a great player.
Yeah, it seems like this is something that they've been talking about for a little while now. I think even if before Bregman left, there was talks about moving Bregman to second, and then Altuve still going to left field. So maybe they're making some room for a couple of their guys. I mean, they're known to draft pretty well. They have a lot of top prospects typically. So I know there's a few names down there that have been getting some attention and been coming up the last, season or two. So it'll be interesting seeing Altuve out there and outfield, but he seems to be okay with it. I mean, I haven't heard any negative things on it. He's been interviewed about it multiple times. So talking about a position change, also Colt Keith looks like he'll be transitioning to first base. Not sure if he'll bounce from first to second, but first base looks like it'll be his official position. Do you have any take on that?
I kind of like the move for some reason. Maybe this is just me. When I think of Colt Keith, first base, it just sounds right for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they have a really fun team. They got Jack back there, and I think that's super important for him, seeing what he did last season. Bummer for them. Parker Meadows looks like he's going to start the season on the IL. I was kind of thinking he was going to be maybe one of those breakout players this year, kind of a sleeper pick possibly in fantasy. But it looks like he is already starting the season hurt, which is unfortunate. But Tigers, they're going to be a great team to watch. I think they're going to be maybe not last year's Orioles. I think the Orioles are that team, that young team everyone wanted to watch last season. Same with the Pirates. But they might be. They have some young talent down there that actually that's going to bring me to the spring breakouts. Did you want to start that or?
Sure. I'll start with Termarr Johnson. It's kind
Okay.
of this is a guy I like. Age 21. He's currently number 82 on the prospect list for Pittsburgh. And although he only has so far 7 at bats so far in spring training, I look for him to get more at bats as the spring goes on. And you might not see him until maybe later this season, possibly even next year. But I expect him to be a really good player. In 2024, batted 237, but he hit 15 home runs with 54 RBIs and 22 stolen bases and 500 bats. So I do think that's a good sign despite the sort of low average, but guy's only 21. So
Yeah, I was gonna say he's a young player still, and since the day he's got drafted, he's been talked about all around. He's been in the futures games and all-star games, so he's already out there and doing well. I mean, I know he's got a great bat, and that's I mean they're that team whenever they have everybody, all their young prospects up, and their second and third years are on their third and fourth year. That's going to be a scary team.
yeah, I agree.
Did you want to go ahead and hit your second prospect or spring breakout, I should say?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do a Dalton Rushing, another good prospect. He is currently number 30 on the MLB's top 100 for the Dodgers. Age 24, in 7 games so far in spring training, is batting .330, so that's definitely a good sign. Now, 2024, he batted .271 with 26 home runs, 85 RBIs, and 420 at bats. Really good for a catcher. Now, sort of an issue with the catcher. I mean, they just signed Will Smith to a 7 or 8 year deal before last season. So it's kind of going to be, well, is he going to split time with Will Smith? Is he going to possibly get traded? Is he going to get moved? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, Dodgers are known for being almost having obviously too many good players and it being difficult for some prospects to get called up. So, even if Dalton Rushing, even if he is ready to come up, sometimes for the Dodgers, you just have to wait a little longer than the typical player. Unless you're a pitcher, sometimes pitching wise, you'll see a lot of younger pitchers come up and get the opportunity. But I don't know. I think Dalton Rushing's a different type of player, though. I think he needs to be up. It's a scary thought of seeing someone like him in the Dodgers uniform with what they already have. But they could make a move like we were talking about a few episodes ago about James Outman and him being possibly somebody they trade off. So that would give them an opportunity to bring him up and maybe give Will Smith a break a little bit behind the plate and have them both DH because Rushing has a good bat too, and he's a lefty or didn't he bat left?
Yeah. Yeah, and
So
just kind of some ups to touch on is that, like I said, 24 years old, so I expect him to be at least on the major league roster, maybe not for opening day, but very soon. Because I mean, this guy's starting to get into his prime. You don't really want to keep guys past that age 20-24 mark in the minor leagues. And like I said, the stats speak for themselves. Last year, 24 home runs. So,
yeah, I mean, like that's a good point too. Just age consideration. You don't want to keep talent like that down there. And I guess that is, like I said, with the Dodgers, you might have to stay down there a little bit longer than the average player. But for a team, if he was on the Angels, or say them or the White Sox, he might have already been up last year or the year before. He might already have that starting position. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing him out there though. That'll be fun.
yeah.
So on my list, speaking of the Tigers earlier, Thyron Lorenzo. His name's been tossed around a lot lately. He's been showing his his big pop of the bat. His career minor league stats in 914 at bats, he's hit 254 with 45 home runs, 159 RBIs, 6 stolen bags, and an 856 OPS. I mean, that's nearly two seasons of ball, and he's not a big stealer. He might not hit 300, but 856 OPS and 45 home runs between 914 at bats that's pretty solid. Last year, he had 353 at bats where he hit 12 home runs and hit 244. So you kind of see what type of player he is. Have you heard much about him? He's a catcher, so I think for the Tigers, that's extremely fitting for somebody who's kind of missing that catching piece. They have some of their vets out there. They have their second, third year guys, their young rookies. I mean, they have a lot of talent out there. Riley Green. Kind of interested in seeing what Spencer Torkelson's going to do this year. With Colt Keith moving to first, is he somebody they're going to try to trade off? Does he just hit DH? Any thoughts on any of those guys?
Yeah, I was with the move to Colt Keith at first. It did kind of raise some questions about Torkelson. Whether because there has been talk about trading him. One of the teams I heard was the Yankees a little while back. I don't know if there's really any more development on that. I just know it was a rumor.
Yeah, and Yankees are. I could see that. Absolutely, I could see Yankees trying to go after him, especially after losing Stanton. I don't know how long Stanton's going to be out, but for the Yankees, they're always kind of looking for that extra bat. I've even heard him talking and reaching out to JD Martinez. It's another free agent we haven't mentioned, who I would think he would be on a team by some point this season. But yeah, Tigers, they have everything going for them right now. Jackson Jobe, another big name that's going to be an all-star. So yeah, that'll be great to see Tyron out there. I think it's Tyron is how it's pronounced. Lorenzo. He's been getting a lot of attention lately. He's only 21 though, so if we don't see him this season, or if we do, it might be later on. The next on the list is a Philly, of course. Philly seems to be just completely solid in baseball all around the last few seasons. Prospect-wise, we've seen some of their pitching at least take injuries. I think it was Painter and another pitcher down there. But Gabriel Rincones Jr., his name's been getting tossed around a lot out there recently too. In 2024, he had 254 at bats where he hit 252, 800 OPS, and he drove in 32 RBIs off 11 home runs and 23 stolen bases. So he's got some really great stats, and looking at his career stats and 713 at bats, it's pretty much the same stats as he had in 2024. Have you heard much on this guy? Have you been seeing his name out there on TV or anything?
I've seen his name a little bit. I'm not too familiar, but judging on his stats, sounds like a really good player. I mean, we'll just have to see more is kind of what I'm getting at.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, so this spring he's had 12 at bats so far, and he's hitting 333, but he does have 3 home runs in those 12 at bat, and he's got a 1.5 OPS. So I mean, he's and he's also a 24-year-old. So I think he's ready to come up and get going. I could see Philly bringing him up. They're always kind of missing it seems like one outfielder, one everyday player. They typically have Marsh out there, Castellanos, but sometimes their outfield has been wishy-washy. I would say that'd probably be their missing piece, in my opinion. I think last season they were trying to even make deals with Luis Robert, if I'm correct, which would have been pretty nasty for the Phillies.
Yeah, I agree. And The Phillies are a team that have a lot of veterans. Some of them are getting up there in age, so I think to bring a younger guy in that outfield, I think it would be a great move.
Yeah, I agree. And looking at their pitching rotation, they just looks like Luzardo's starting spring off arm like super hot. So if you get Luzardo going like he was a couple years ago, their starting rotation to their bullpen it's going to be pretty incredible, I think.
Yep.
One more mention I just wanted to throw out there and see your thoughts is Jose Siri. So to me, for some reason, it seems like Jose Siri has been in the league for a long time, and his let's see here. I had some paper pulled up for him, but what's your thoughts on Jose Siri making a starting role with the Mets? I mean, he's got 10 at bats this spring training. He's batting 300, also with 3 home runs, 1.7 OPS. I mean, he brings a lot of fire to the clubhouse and to the the stadium, to the team. And I think him with the Mets it's kind of like the Iglesias in a way of last year. Just the effect of his his fire, I guess I would say.
Yeah, I agree. I like Jose Siri. He, like you said, he kind of brings that fire, kind of has
Any
that
thoughts on
attitude.
that?
Yeah, kind of has that attitude, and he's got some pop. I remember early in his minor league career, he hit, I believe it was for a 39 game hitting streak. That's one of the things I remember about Jose Siri early in his professional career.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, he's not even 30 years old yet. I think, and he's been showing his potential a lot. He's even got a lot of speed out there. He's fun to watch in the outfield, and he's got a little bat on him at times. So it
Yep.
seems like he's pretty clutch, in my opinion. In those big moments, he'll come through. So what else do you have for us on spring training news, Luke?
I got some pretty big news for Orioles and Orioles fans. Felix Bautista, after 556 days, he's finally back on the mound after a elbow discomfort on August 25th of 2023, pitching against the Rockies. Ended up having a UCL tear, I believe, having Tommy John surgery, but he's finally back. Pitched 1 inning, faced 3 batters, struck out 2 of them. I think it's a great sign.
Hey. Yeah, that sounds like Felix Batista right there. I mean,
Yeah.
he's gonna come down and he's gonna sit down those players, and that's what he's known best for. So to have him back in the Orioles rotation, that's I mean, if they had him all season last year, I think it would have helped them out tremendously. With Ted Kernball and what he had, kind of the season he had last season. And speaking of the Orioles, real quick, I don't know if you were able to see this, but they're known to be the most strongest team, I guess, the most muscle. Everybody's jacked on their team. Tyler O'Neill, he's always the one that's the most jacked on the field. Looks like Jackson Holiday put on some muscle, and then looks like Adley even put on a bit of muscle this season.
Mhm.
So uh, they're just walking around camp and spring training in these shirts that are probably just way too small for them. But yeah, expect a lot of home runs out there this year. What else
Yeah.
do you have for us, Luke?
We're going to do something a little bit different. We actually have MLB 25, the show news, share with you guys. So something a little bit different, but one of the biggest, I guess, new things to ever come in MLB The Show is now they allow you to play in college. They're bringing college into it, which I'm really excited for. So in Road to the Show now, you could start your career as a senior in high school and lead your team to the state championship. Then after that, you can kind of decide whether you want to go pro or you can choose one of the 8 college programs to improve your draft stock. And those colleges include Texas, Cal State, Fullerton, TCU, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Tennessee, UCLA, and LSU. So I'm pretty excited for that. What about you?
Yeah. Unfortunately, well, fortunately, but unfortunately, it's going to lead to new things, I guess, for me because I still have a PS4. So I don't think they're going to be making it for the PS4.
No.
So I'm going to have to sell the PS4. Maybe I'll hold on to it, but I'm going to have to go out and get me a PS5 finally. And yeah, because I'm not gonna not have the show. But I'm looking forward to that. I think that's a big change. The show needed something different, so I think going back and putting some college on there is that's gonna draw a lot of attention. That'll be fun.
Yeah,
Makes it
and
interesting
like,
for
and
sure.
as you kind of
I'll be buying it.
yeah, for sure, as you were kind of mentioning that this MLB will be only on next gen.
All right. So next on the list is something that we had mentioned. Was it maybe 2 episodes ago? And it was referring to Travis Hunter, Colorado football player, uh, probably a top 3 draft pick, maybe top 5. Don't follow football as closely as when it comes to draft picks, but I do know Travis Hunter, obviously one of the best players in football. Plays from both sides. No hate against him whatsoever. He's going to be great in the NFL. But Ocho Cinco came out. We were talking about two-way players. He made the comment on Shohei Ohtani on saying that he thinks playing two-way football is harder. I shared my thoughts. Luke shared his thoughts. We both agree that Shohei Ohtani probably has the harder position, especially because he dominates at both sides, on pitching and hitting. But Ocho Cinco came out and said that the two most difficult things in life are hitting a baseball and keeping a woman happy long term. It's a very Ocho Cinco thing to say. Uh, but you see an NFL Hall of Famer, uh, you see him even saying right there that baseball is the hardest thing. So hitting a baseball in general, you see tons of top athletes around the world from each sport when they go in and hit a baseball. Not many of them can, but the ones that can were probably drafted as a baseball player as well, like Patrick Mahomes or Russell Wilson, those types of players. Even Tom Brady was a baseball player, drafted by the Expos, I believe.
Yep.
Did do you have any thoughts on that? Do you still stand where you stand? Baseball and Shohei Otani's position is a little bit harder than football.
Yeah, I do. Yep. Thoughts still remain the same. It's kind of a funny comment, though.
Yeah. Well, go ahead. I think you have some other news for us. Or actually, first, if you wanted to, I thought I would do something a little throwback player. On I was gonna go with a player that we missed the most. I think we decided to do 2 players out there that we just wish they're still in the league and playing, regardless of if they were great players or great people or whatever the case is. Um, but my first is Carlos Gomez. I was watching some videos of him recently, and I mean, when he would just blister the ball and smack home runs, his some of his reactions were just priceless. He really knew how to piss people off, and he would get hot and he celebrated, and he's just a player that was always on fire, and he was just a fun player. Um, yeah, that's one player that I miss having around. Uh, my second pick, I'm gonna go with our Cardinals, and I'm gonna go with David Eckstein. David Eckstein was one of my favorite players growing up. I wore number 22 for many years in Little League Baseball for him. And you don't really see many players like him anymore. He was just, he was always a little bit undersized compared to the rest of the league, but the hustle that he gave, he wasn't there for swag. He wasn't there for anything. He kind of reminded me of like a Jose Altuve in a way. Like at second base, of course. Jose Altuve, I think David Eckstein still gave more hustle, though. He was a little, I don't know, just an electric player. And it was, wish he was still around to play as well. Did you have any players in mind for throwback players of the week?
Yeah, dude, this is a very hard list, even for just 2 players. Uh, yeah, it's really hard. I think the 2 the most, if I had to choose, would be both Manny Ramirez and David Wright.
Oh yeah, 2 legends right there. David Wright, man. When I was playing third base growing up, I tried to watch him and Scott Rowland, and I tried to idol them and do everything they did, but it's hard to be as good as those guys.
Yeah, and it's a shame, injuries like a lot of other players kind of ruin their career. It's kind of like Grady Sizemore,
Yeah.
for example.
Yep. Unfortunately for injuries, there's a lot of players that we never really get to see their full potential. Mike Trout being probably one of the biggest names.
Yeah.
What else do you have for us, Luke?
Last on the list I have is a crazy baseball stat for you. I know you kind of brought one up last episode, so I thought I would. I've known this stat for a long time now, but every single time I see it again, it's just mind blowing. So if you guys don't know who Jamie Moyer is, he's a starting pitcher. He pitched 25 seasons in the major leagues from 1986 to 2012. And he had faced 8.9% of all major league hitters ever.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a stat
I'm not
right
sure.
there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you knew that one. And what's also kind of crazy is that 2 of those years in his career, he didn't even pitch. 1992 and then 2011. 2011, he had Tommy John surgery, I believe. So that's just another 2 seasons and still had 8.9% of all major league hitters faced.
Wow, that's special. That's obviously he's the outliner there. So, man, he's probably met a wide range of people.
Yeah.
Great ball players at that time, and to see how much baseball has changed to those times too. Even today, just with the pitch clock, who would have ever thought back in those days? They would take their time over there. You would see sometimes 15, 16 consecutive throws over to first base before he would even throw down to the batter or
Right.
and just taking his time on the mound. But yeah, that's a fact right there. Interesting.
Yeah, we'll kind of each video I think we'll kind of come up with some kind of crazy baseball stat or kind of like what Vinny came up with and the one player you missed the most. It's a good one. But if you don't have anything, I think that kind of wraps it up here on episode 5.
Yep. Thank you for tuning in. And if you have any throwback players that you guys miss to see out there and cranking the ball
Love to hear
or
them.
striking them out, making those diving plays, we mentioned Carlos Gomez and David Wright and David Eckstein. I mean,
Manny Ramirez.
Yeah, the greats. So drop your favorite players in the comments. And again, thank you for tuning in. And we'll be back with you here very soon. Hopefully, get some spring training talk here very soon.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Peace.